Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a full face of makeup look. I am heading out the door soon, so I wanted to just show you guys how I just put on my makeup if I'm going for that, not glamorous look, but like no makeup but makeup look. And I really want to share this with everybody who's been kind of asking me like what products I use, how I use it in order to achieve a full face of makeup. So yeah, let's get started. I won't be filming my eyebrows just because I have an eyebrow tutorial that's already up from last year, but it's like the same concept. I pretty much do the same exact thing, but if you want an updated routine, let me know. But I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyebrows and I'll be right back. Okay, so my eyebrows are done. Looking a little long. What I like to do next is conceal underneath my eyes with LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Toffee. I used to use Beautiful Bronze, but I wanted to up the highlights look when I started getting a little bit better at makeup. So if you're a beginner, I would say steer away from Toffee if you're my shade, just because it might be a little harder for you to blend out as a beginner. Although I am a beginner, I still feel like I have a little bit of practice, had a little bit of practice with using this bright highlight. So if you are a beginner, then go ahead and use Beautiful Bronze, I believe, which is underneath Toffee. If not, just use Beautiful Bronze. The way I like to apply this is to use my finger. So you want to just use a finger. You can use your ring finger. Just be super gentle and kind because you are underneath your eyes and you want to be very sensitive to that area. You can use whatever shape that you want, but I just try to apply the highlights in, I guess, an upside down triangle like people say. So I don't like to go on my cheek areas just because I don't want to take away from my cheekbone structure. And then I apply the excess to my chin. I don't put this on my forehead because it just looks super weird when I try to highlight my forehead. I don't know, it's just weird. Now that I am super bougie, I'm going to use the Real Beauty Blender, and I purchased this a couple of days ago, and you guys, this really does work. I'm going to go ahead and douse this with some water so that I can make it damp, and so that I can use this and it'll blend to its fullest capabilities. You can go ahead and use your finger if you don't have this beauty blender, or you can use a beauty blender that you've purchased from the beauty supply store. You can get it at the beauty supply store, Walmart, Target, wherever. Just get you one of these, or you can use your finger like I said. And just bounce it on your concealer to blend everything out. And what this highlight is going to do, it's going to, well, at least for me, it brightens up my face and it makes me look more awake. Like that. And then you want to do the other side, of course. Just make sure you're blending it out where the lines around it aren't harsh and the concealer itself is fully blended into your skin, but not too blended where it is completely gone. Because you do want it to show, you kind of want it to look like you highlighted, of course. You want people to know that you put on makeup. You don't want them to know the amount of makeup you put on, if that makes any sense. Then I like to use the bottom part of the sponge and blend out the edges. Like I said, you don't want any harsh lines. Now that that's blended out to my, blended out to my liking, I go ahead and set all of this with the Sacha Buttercup setting powder. It is in this container because my friend Irv, hey girl, if you're watching this, she's super generous when she had this, so she gave me some. And the way I like to apply this is with a makeup sponge, and I like to dip it in there, scrape the excess off the side, and then just apply it where I put my highlight. And what this is going to do, it's going to make sure that your under eye concealer doesn't crease up on you, and it's going to mattify and keep everything in place. And it's also going to add to the highlighted look. So if your concealer isn't too bright, or if you're afraid of using the bright concealer, then just go ahead and use this setting powder or a setting powder that's lighter than you, and you can go ahead and get away with that instead of having to use a concealer. What I like to use now that I've set my under eye concealer is go ahead and apply my foundation. The foundation that I use is the CoverGirl Outlast 3-in-1 foundation. It acts as a foundation, a concealer, and a screen protectant because this has SPF 20 in it, which is amazing because my moisturizer doesn't have SPF in it, which is bad. So for the most part, this acts as my SPF concealer and foundation all in one. So what I like to do is take one pump of it, since I don't use it underneath my eyes because I've already concealed and set it. I take that on my hand like this much, and then I take my ring finger again and I just dab it in there and I dab it on my face. The reason why I like to dab this on my face is because at least I can see where I'm putting it, and then I go ahead and blend everything out. I like to focus on the bottom part of my face and around my mouth area because I have more pigmentation right there. And I put it on the sides of my highlight because I don't know, I just don't like the way it looks when girls have the highlight going all the way to their hairline. I'm like, okay, we get it, you highlighted, we got it. I put some sparingly on my forehead. Nope, I'm busy. So now that we have that on our face, we're gonna go ahead and take our beauty blender again. You can use a beauty blender, but before I was using this, I was using the Real Techniques. The name has rubbed off already. I use this to stipple it in and blend it out, but since I have this, I'm gonna go ahead and use it, and I'm going to dampen it a little bit more, and then I'm just gonna bounce this on my face to blend everything out. You guys, I'm gonna buy another one of these because this is ridiculously amazing, you guys. Like, what the heck? I see that they came out with the nude one for, let's be honest, lighter skinned women or Caucasian women, and I'm just gonna wait for them to come out with a brown one for us brown skinned chocolate girls. Now, next in my routine, I like to contour at this point. So you can use a cream contour or you can use powder. I purchased this HD concealer from Nika K from the hair store. I believe it was maybe no more than $4. So yeah, it might be the darkest shade. It's in the shade Brazilian Coffee. I love this stuff to contour with. Or you can use the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, but for this video, I'm gonna keep it super simple and use this one. So we're gonna put it where your cheekbone is, right here. You can do this to find out where it's at, but I'm so used to it, I don't need to do that. I like to apply it right here. It might not show up because it's not too dark. And then I apply it right here on the sides of my head. And then I do the same on the other side. Don't bring this up around here. It just doesn't show up, so I don't do that. And then I take this brush from Real Techniques. I don't know the name because it has rubbed off once again, but it's just a tapered blending brush, and I go ahead and blend all of that out. You don't have to contour. You can also bronze your face up, which I normally do, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to contour today. And the reason why I like to put this around the sides of my head right here is to once again enforce the cleaning up of the highlight around my eyes. And then you just blend out the other side of your contour. Excess I go ahead and use on my nose a little bit. I don't really care to contour my nose for the most part because I just feel like my nose just always gonna be big. So once I'm done with that, I go back in with the Sacha Buttercup setting powder and I just slide it right up underneath there to emphasize the contour. Ooh, that was an ugly line. You want to kind of make sure that the line is decently straight. And just slide it. And then I just like to use a little bit right here. Sometimes, not all the time. Then I'll take my e.l.f. blush palette in the shade Dark. Freaking love this palette, especially this shade right here. It is the most brown girl friendly shade in this palette in my opinion. So, and it's super pigmented, so I like to take a blush brush, a brush from Real Techniques, and I just stipple it on there. You don't want to take a lot because it is pigmented like I said, and I like to apply this in a contour motion, in a circular motion. I don't like to apply it right on my cheeks because I don't want to look like a clown, and I don't trust myself to do that. Put it on my chin like that. Then what I like to do next is take this brush from Real Techniques. I don't know how to explain it, so I won't explain it. Just by looking at it, hopefully you guys can see it in the store. So I'm going to wipe off all the excess Sasha Buttercup because you don't want to leave that on your face. You'll look super crazy. Blend this out really well. Products that I'm using are very, very affordable. I didn't buy them all at once. I just bought them randomly when I went to the store and I found them, so you don't feel like you need to go out and buy them all at once because it's definitely not what I did. The next what I like to do is take my e.l.f. makeup misting set. You can use whatever setting spray that you have, and this, what it'll do is tone down the powders that you possibly used for the makeup look, and it'll make your face just look a little bit more cohesive instead of just really spotty like highlights, contour, blush. You know, it'll blend everything together seamlessly, and then just spray it a couple times on your face. Spraying this on your face, you don't want to scrunch your face up because it can cause creasing and just like really awkward lines on your face. So just spray this on your face and keep your face really light, like so. If that made any damn sense. Then I like to go in and add mascara. The reason why I add mascara after is because it doesn't smudge when I have my eyes closed. Use any mascara. You guys, I've used the cheapest mascaras to some expensive mascaras, and ultimately I feel like you don't need to spend tons of money on a mascara because you can just build it up. And in order to get the fullest amount of volume and length from adding mascara, I would say add one coat and then let that dry, and then add another coat. Next, while this is drying, I'm going to add a highlight. Now, I have been in love with this Wet n Wild highlight for the longest. You guys seen me use this in plenty of videos before. If you haven't already, go ahead and pick this up. I'm not sure if this shade is still on the market, but Wet n Wild, it's by Wet n Wild, and it was pretty inexpensive. It was no more than $5. So go to Target, Walmart, wherever you can find any Wet n Wild products and see if you can find this shade. It is the Fergie Center Stage collection in the shade Carnival and Rio, and I'll see if I can find a link to this down below. But instead of using this today, I'm going to be using a newly bought product, which is the Becca highlight in the shade Topaz. If you guys watched one of my recent videos, I believe it was a haul video, I showed you guys the Becca poured compact in the same shade Topaz, and I started using it, and I don't know, it's just a little yellow for me, so I picked it up in the same shade except in the pressed form, like this. So pretty. And I'll swatch them, both of these highlights, so you guys can see the difference, so you guys can decipher which one you like better. This Topaz is more of like a yellow undertone, while the Fergie Center Stage collection is more of a golden undertone, which I can appreciate because I kind of like the golden undertone better than the yellow undertone. You guys can decide. This one is Topaz, and this one is the Fergie Center Stage collection right there. They're both equally gorgeous, but for today's video I'm going to be using the Becca one. I'm going to go ahead and use a fan brush to apply this highlight. You don't have to use a fan brush. You can use whatever brush you have, or you can use your fingers. Why not? For the Wet n Wild one, I like to use my fingers first, and then I went ahead and blended it out with an actual brush. I have to learn how to use this sparingly because it's a lot more easy to get carried away with than the Fergie collection highlighter. For today's video, I'm going to be using my newly purchased liquid lipstick by Kat Von D, and this is in the shade Lolita. This was the last one, and I wasn't going to buy it, but I was like, you know what, Dom? Do the damn thing. I'm going to be using a lip liner. This is by Milani. You can use whatever brown pencil you have just to line your lips. And you want to, I think a lot of people don't know how to use lip liners, which is super essential. You don't want to line the actual line of your lip. I don't know how to explain it. When you're lining your lip, you don't want to line right on the very lining of your lip. Hopefully that makes sense. You want to line right on top of that inside of your actual lip. And I like to darken up the corners.